Guys, what is going on? How y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of Demand 1993. We are here live! And we're here for my live review of this past Monday night's episode of Monday Night Raw. The season premiere of Monday Night Raw. Why they call it that? I don't know. But we were live. And at the Barclays Center. I've been there before. Awesome place. The Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. That's home of SummerSlam 2015. That was home of the Hall of Fame ceremony in 2019. That's home of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Well, several of them. And TakeOver New York, of course. And home of Raw After Mania in 2019. That was not good. I mention all those because that's where events I attended in New York. Which, of course, were amazing. Getting something ready for later. But yeah, we're going to talk about everything that happened on the Fallout show of Extreme Rules. And also, of course, we're now on the road to WWE's Crown Jewel. Although, may have to tone that down a bit. Because this show may have given me the match that's selling me for the show. That made me want to watch it. Unless they keep this match for Survivor Series. But we got a lot to talk about. A lot happened on this episode of Raw. There was a couple little downers, though. A couple little wet farts. If you know what I mean. A couple things that I'm like, okay, I can't take this seriously anymore. Or, okay, that's enough of this. So, if it wasn't for those couple downers, I was this close to giving this show a solid A. I would not say it would be a legendary show, but I thought for the whole year, and since Triple H took over creative, I think this may have been the best Raw. If not this one, the Raw in Pittsburgh. But have been the best one that Triple H has done since he took over. But there was a couple little things that I wasn't the biggest fan of. So that's why it kind of downed my grade to an A-. But I don't see how you still can't look at this show and say that it wasn't great. We had returns, we had surprises, we had some excellent matches, we saw D-Generation X celebrate its 25th anniversary. Oh shit! As somebody else would say in this episode. And well, in this episode of Raw. And we got a new champion. Who is that? We'll freaking talk about it freaking later. So we'll of course see where it goes. But we do got a lot to talk about, and I still have my Thursday night shows to watch tonight, so we were definitely getting moving, but we're still going to definitely have a very effective review of Raw. I will try, can't promise, I will try later on to also review Dynamite as well. Talk about last night's show, which was not as good as this. Some stuff I liked, but this was great. I was a lot more excited to talk about this episode of Raw this week. Because it was a banger. A banger after banger after banger. Okay, I'm getting a little too excited here. Let's roll and talk about it. But we got Tyler in the live chat. Ronda Rousey's number one fan, Tyler. He gave it the same rating as me. Nice. End this never-ending feud with Bianca and Bayley. We are going to talk about Damage Control at some point in this show. I somewhat do agree a little bit, because that's kind of gone a little as well. But we'll talk about it, because the things that were good in this show were really, really good. Yeet! Well, okay, that wasn't the best thing about Raw. But, we'll talk about that. Fire, Horseface, and Logan, of course. Your favorites of all time, Tyler. Your favorites of all time, buddy. Anyways, let's roll in and let's talk about Monday Night Raw. The season premiere. Don't get why, but it felt like a premiere. Anyways, So, backstage, we are showing DX backstage. Well, we see Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, the Showstopper, the Road Dogg, and former horrible head writer for SmackDown, Road Dogg, and X-Pac, all wearing their black and green, and are asking each other if they're ready. But it doesn't matter if they're ready. Is he ready? And then it turns the camera over to the person sitting behind the production desk, Triple H, wearing glasses. Never seen Hunter wear glasses before. He looked old with his glasses on. But of course, he says there's a lot going on, and he can't really get involved. He tells them to keep it clean, no wearing or talking about genitals, and then they start bleeping and cursing, and they have a gag about the 4 cocks, which is a bunch of chicken dolls sitting at the desk, rubber, of course, and then of course they eventually leave Triple H to choke the chicken, and they head off, and he sees them off by telling them no fight, based on them behave themselves. But of course, it's not going to happen. They were just pulling off like an old DX segment, but also get reminded, hey, it's a PG era, unfortunately. But, they still did weird crap. But it was still funny. We, of course, then introduced, of course, to our new our new color commentator for Raw, Kevin Patrick. Jimmy Smith has left WWE, not sure why. Kevin Patrick, who was the backstage interview, takes his place. We'll see how he does. And the show, of course, starts off with the Bloodline. We're the 2s and they're the 1s. They come out. Roman, of course, makes first we get a recap from SmackDown. I'm still confused by that segment on SmackDown, where Logan Paul tried to bring back the Jey Uso Roman Reigns storyline from 2 years ago. Basically saying who really is the head of the table, was it Roman Reigns or was it Jey Uso? I'm still so confused by that. I still just didn't quite get that. So anyways, then it kind of, to me, it kind of transitioned to the beef that's going on with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Because Roman first made Brooklyn, acknowledged him. And then, and of course, Sami Zayn was getting, the biggest pop of all of them. Roman puts Jey on a spot. He then says, but then of course, when Roman tries to step to his cousin, Sami says he can handle this. And at first, Roman was upset about it, but then he laughs and says, "If Sami really is the honorary Uso, have at it." Sami says he has all the love. They all love Jey, but he hasn't been really Uso lately. Don't give him some Uso hot. We don't know what happened with the revival. Everybody loves Jimmy. Of course, Jimmy's all smiling. Everybody loves Jimmy. Jimmy won the titles. Jimmy super kicked the Brawling Brutes. Jimmy got the pin. For those who kind of get the reference, we'll modify a little bit. You're awesome. And he also says how Solo Sikoa is tough, but also fun. The thing is, they're all fun. Can't Jey just loosen up a bit? And then Jey is, of course, fuming and demand Roman and tell him this is a joke. Are they ribbing him? And then Matt Riddle comes out, which was a little random. But he goes, why aren't they talking about his win over Seth in the fight pit? He knows he agreed not to challenge for the titles again as long as Roman is champion. But how about making an exception for Brooklyn? Then Roman was like, nah, you can find somebody else in the bloodline. And then, of course, Jey is like, well, what about you, Sami? What about you? Want to take one for the team? And then, but I guess one of them said yeet. And then Matt Riddle started mocking the way he said yeet. He's like, yeet? Like being goofy Matt Riddle again. And he does it again, and Jey says Riddle's low-key disrespecting him, and which gets Sami to finally give in and challenge Riddle. And basically he says, don't say that word again. Then Riddle's just like, yeet? A little strange, but that sets up for a match later on in the show. We finally had a match between Johnny Gargano versus Austin Theory. Personally, they should have just done this in Extreme Rules. Or a little bit sooner. The match was fine. Don't get me wrong. It was just definitely like a starter, like, it's kind of like a starter feud, kind of like, you know, test the waters and, you know, get the gears grinding for Johnny. Like, they had a build to a match. That really shouldn't go farther past, you know, this one match. And I'm gonna be real. I mean, the match was good. Don't get me wrong. Johnny got the win as he should have with a nice finishing, thunderous one final beat. Of course, get the end. So probably moving on with that. I gotta be honest though, guys. I'm gonna say this right now. I've given it a shot, especially under Triple H. But to me, it's very obvious. I hate to see him fail the cash-in, but I kind of want someone to challenge Austin Theory for the briefcase. I'm sorry. I mean, he seemed ready under Vince McMahon because Vince loved him. He was basically Vince McMahon's hand-picked protege before he retired. Vince McMahon retiring, though, was the worst thing to happen, though, for Austin Theory. Because, I'm sorry, I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready to be world champion. If he won the world champion, again, I kept saying, give him time with the briefcase, give him some big wins over some people. He hasn't been winning, though. He hasn't really had any big wins over anybody big at all. Like, okay, if you want to put the U.S. title or Intercontinental title on him, fine, I can accept that. But world champion, I'm still not feeling it. So, I again still think it may be best just to have someone else take the briefcase off of Austin. I'm sorry, I don't think he's ready. Like, you know, I see something in him, but it's not there yet. It's not there yet. So, I'm sorry. I just gotta say, I finally, you know, let go of, you know, believing that Austin Theory is going to be built to be a star right now. I mean, he can be, but he's not ready. He's not there yet. Putting the Money in the Bank briefcase on him was a mistake. I'm sorry, it was. So yeah, Johnny, though, beat Austin Theory in a good match. We also had another pretty good match between Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable. They had really solid chemistry. I know when Alpha Academy first turned heel, they were feuding with Rey and Dominic when they were still a team. Did we ever get Chad Gable and Rey Mysterio one-on-one, though? Because this was a really good match. I thought so. Of course, though, Rey wins, but during the match, though, Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio had came down to the ring and basically just watched Rey. After this match, though, Dom gets in the ring, and then Rey has a few words off mic for him, and he turns to leave. But then, of course, Rhea Ripley, who had an arm bar thing on her arm saying Beth on it, blocks his way. And then Rey then turns around, looking back to his son, and then Dominic's going, "Hit me, daddy! Hit me, daddy!" Well, not quite that. He goes, "Hit me! Hit me!" Like, he's begging his father to hit him. Like, he's basically, like, saying how much of his father is a wuss. And, again, Rey keeps saying, you know, I will not... Rey's taking blame for this, and he just refuses to put his hands on his own son. And, of course, when Rey kept refusing, Dom slapped him. And then Rey went charging in, looked like he was finally about to blow on his son. Instead, he blew past him to strike Damian Priest, who was climbing onto the ring apron. And then he caught Finn Balor, trying to sneak him in the ring, too. He then hits the ropes, but then Dom just flattened him with a crossbody. And he, like, slammed into the ropes, too. Like, I was thinking, oh, goodness, you might want to call Enzo and see what it's like to slam to those ropes, because I'm pretty sure they hurt it like hell. After, of course, that happened, you know, Judgment Day was standing in the ring, just, like, staring him down, just, like, seething in their victory. And then Rey again just stunned. Well, first, even though Rey was getting angry, he still won't, hit his son. And then Dom blasts him from behind, sending him crashing into the ropes. And then Rhea grabbed onto Ray's wrists. And then a 619 from Dom onto his own father, leading to, of course, everybody calling Dom an asshole. And, of course, this is where just Ray just broke down in tears and just cried. As his heart, of course, is broken. Someday, though, he's going to finally, give in. And he's finally going to put his hands on his own son. We're going to see that match at WrestleMania. The storytelling's been off the charts. Like I said, I've been saying this about Dominic for a while. He's a solid wrestler. He needed a personality so bad, though. They had to get him away from the fact that, he's Rey Mysterio's son. Now he's kind of in his own element. Oh, but, like I said, he is just one of the best douchebag heels I have seen in a while. But anyways, then we have one of my favorite segments of the night. We then have, after the commercial break, and Ray leaves, Judgment Day is in the ring. And Rhea reminds us they run Monday nights. Damian Priest says everybody who steps to them fails while they continue to rise. And then Finn Balor says he pissed on our parade by ending Edge's comeback. He, Dom, and Priest, me, Dom, and Priest, trying to talk in Finn Balor's accent, all affirm he made Edge say, I quit on Saturday. Then, of course, you get a video package of to drive his point home. And, of course, Judgment Day were laughing about that when Rhea gets back on the mic to call Beth Phoenix a joke. And then jeers and deafening when Dom talks about how watching Rhea destroy Beth did it for him. And he knows it did it for us. He then runs down his recent history with his father before passing it back to Finn so he can call out Uncle Alan, AJ Styles, demanding an answer about joining the group. And AJ does come out. Now, of course, last week, there was some teased tension for a possible heel turn, as AJ did indeed get frustrated with Rey Mysterio. As he should. Because, again, I keep saying, it's not been the best year for AJ Styles. I swear he's lost a lot of matches. I don't think he's won a single pay-per-view match this year. I don't think he has, sadly. And again, he's not really done much to babyface. But he finally got a direction. Because he came down and said he's not here to argue. The answer's been right in front of him, right all along. He's needed people to have his back. And then he bends the knee and he starts quoting New Jack City. And he hugs Finn while the Judgment Day can celebrate. I knew you'd come around. This is awesome. This and that. And then the camera does kind of like a partial 45-degree spin around him. Just to see AJ still hugging Finn. And you see the look in his eyes change. And it's like, oh shit. And he pulls the mic back up close to his mouth and he goes, wasn't talking about you. And then I was like, okay, I had not read any rumblings or anything, even though apparently there was rumblings out. And I'm like, oh my God, don't tell me. And then sure enough, out came Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. The OC is back in WWE. And I saw that, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, I'm going to be real. I thought that when they tried reuniting them in 2019, I think it was. When was it? When did AJ turn heel? Yeah, 2019 it was. That point, they were just washed up. Gallows and Anderson were just so washed up, talking about a bunch of nerds. They had just gone past the days of, retirement homes, the doctors, the ring post-itis, the old day, all the stuff that just, the holiday gimmick street fights they're in that they lost, all the horrible things that just washed them down so bad since they had first came in 2016 and had teamed with AJ Styles. Now, They've been away for a while. They've had some success outside the company. They're back. And they're baby faces. And, of course, they got into a brawl with the Judgment Day. So I guess this might be a new feud, Judgment Day and the OC. I'm not sure. Also, I may have mentioned this recently. What if this is also leading to a triple threat match for the men's War Games match, and the teams are Bloodline, Roman Reigns, and the Usos. Unless, what if they did this storyline? I was thinking of this. What if they did do a 3 teams of 3? What if they did this storyline where Roman Reigns had the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa? The winning team joins him in War Games. Just a thought. And they do Roman Reigns and 2 members of the Bloodline. The Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. And the OC, AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. That's a possibility, because I still don't know who else right now could possibly, be joined up as a team to take on the Bloodline. I really don't. But like I said, if you do it that way, it will kind of lead to like an interesting way of building towards the match. Unless they don't, see, because I think they find it a little odd that they would have Solo fight his brothers, because there's no real tension between Solo and his brothers. So what if they have Roman Reigns and Jey Uso fight? I'm sorry. No. Sami Zayn and Jey Uso fight. And whoever wins that match, they get to, of course, then the Usos, if Jey wins, the Usos join him in the War Games match. If Sami wins, then him and Solo join Roman in the War Games match. Just a neat little twist there. Want to throw it out there. But of course, they reunite and they brawled. But of course, the thing that's interesting here is Carl Anderson apparently is still the never open weight champion in New Japan right now. So how on earth is he in WWE? Now, I've heard rumors because the OC, Gallows and Anderson have been like an Impact. They've been in New Japan. Of course, they've appeared on Dynamite in AEW at the beginning of Kenny Omega's world title run. Last I heard, I think they're free agents. Because when they were, in AEW Impact and appeared in New Japan, I think he was under contract with Impact. But now it's like it's still strange also, because even though he's holding a New Japan a New Japan championship of some sorts, New Japan still has a partnership with AEW. So this is very interesting, because we don't know what's really going on now. But that is intriguing. But I'm excited to see them back. I'm hoping for a better round for them. And again, if they can get them back on track, more depth in the tag team division. So much freaking depth to that tag team division. Heck, I still think the end result is going to be Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens dethroning the Usos. That should be the long-term plan. I'm not opposed to them, though, reigniting the feud with Gallows and Anderson and the Usos, except roles reversed. I love what they did with them when they first came in 2016. Good shit there. So, yes, I marked out seeing Gallows and Anderson. Because again, I had heard there had been some rumors online, but I hadn't read anything online. I was surprised. I marked out. It was just like a prediction I just made recently. Like, what if the OC came back up AJ? Because I just wasn't ready to see AJ go heel again. I wasn't ready for it. I know he's not had a successful run as a babyface this time right now. Not even close. But I'm like, well, if they want to give it their direction as a babyface, give him back the OC. And the OC is back. Too sweet, baby! We'll see where this goes, of course, too. Okay, then we have a little bit of a sour part of it. Well, first, we had Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman leaving Barclays. Then Jay runs up and says they need to talk about tonight. But Roman says Paul has them set up in Manhattan and they're doing New York today. But Jay ain't coming because he needs to stick Sammy. Help Sami Zayn in his match with Matt Riddle. And since he'll be here, he tells him to make sure the Honorary Usos doesn't lose. Solo's going to come with him tonight. Which, of course, does not make Jay happy. Alright. So we have Byron Saxton, of course, then interviewing Damage Control. Bayley's just staring at the camera, just like not in the mood to talk. Because she lost, of course, on Saturday. So Dakota Kai speaks instead. He says that they're sisters, but Bianca can't say the same against Alexa Bliss and Asuka. Io Sky then says some things that Dakota Kai and Bayley Lucy translate, one of which is that Bayley's going to kick Candice LeRae's ass next. So they have a match with Bayley versus Candice LeRae. The fallout of, pissed off heel, didn't win the match that I still felt she should have won. And to my surprise, Candice LeRae won the match clean. She beat Bayley clean, and Bayley loses yet again. Bianca Belair comes out trying to, save Candice because she was getting beat down 3-on-1. But instead, they then beat down Bianca too, and Damage Control let everybody out. Obviously, I think they're still looking dominating. Is it time, though, to start not... What? I don't know. Like I keep saying, it was not a good idea to have Bayley lose that match on Sunday. I really think Bayley should have won that match. She could have won by of course, grabbing the title from climbing the ladder, which would have been a great way to protect Bianca. Because now Damage Control doesn't feel like they're that big of a deal anymore. Now I'm not feeling Damage Control for War Games. Because, first think about this. You had Dakota and Io not win the women's tag title tournament. Which, when was the last time they defended those titles? That's right, too. Again, there's no women's tag teams. So now the tag titles look pointless again. And then in singles matches, they're all losing. So, yes, I get it. It came across to me as Bayley was trying to, the story now is Damage Control has to go, a different direction in order to remain powerful. But yet they've already lost a lot. So, is it too late? Okay, the Io and Dakota losing with the tag champs was one thing. They're tag champions, but they're losing a lot of singles matches. Well, mostly Dakota, I don't think Io's really lost any singles matches. Maybe one against Bianca, I can't remember. But it's like, when they first brought them in, they took out Becky Lynch, and they felt like they were being built like a women's version of the Undisputed Era. And that's why I was saying War Games. But now I'm not feeling it. Like I said, they've lost so much, and even they do the story of okay, we gotta go a different route with this in order to, get what we want. It's kind of a little too late now. So, I don't know. I don't know, they tease that they're going to continue the feud. I'm not sure why, because again, Bianca won clean. Not only that, she also hit a double KOD on Dakota and Io both at once. So even as a unit, they still can't take down Bianca Belair. At this point, what are we going to do? Call up somebody from NXT and make them look more dominating than the three of them? It's a strange spot. It's a very tough spot for Damage Control right now. Ugh. But then, of course, we didn't have probably another one of my least favorite moments of the show. Miz and Maurice are getting ready to celebrate Miz's 42nd birthday. And of course, they're saying they're not going to let Dexter Lumis ruin the birthday. Maurice got him some presents. And the first one is a beautiful looking Louisville Slugger bat. And this is perfect. Kisses his wife. Careful to not mess up her makeup. And then next we see her, Mrs. Miz. I'm sorry, we didn't see Maurice in the ring, decorated in a pretty, basically a big gold theme. Miz comes out and she unveils an ice sculpture of the Miz, bragging about how expensive everything was, which then lets them leads it back to the bat. Say how Miz can knock the New York sports teams for a bit, and then Maurice tells him to open any present he wants. And then he opens up one covering 2 giant exercise balls with Miz was printed on them. And they start making some more ball jokes. And I'm just like, oh, come on. Like, I'm sorry. The whole Miz tiny balls thing, like, I'm done with it. Like, okay, I get it where, we had to tell the stories where we, like, shed off, like, the crap Vince McMahon, did. Like, Triple H, I'll say it this way, because I had a professor in college once say, you can't make gold from poop. Triple H has tried to make gold from poop for so many things. And some things have worked. This has not. I'm sorry. I am just done with the whole tiny balls like crap. It's not funny anymore. I'm done with it. Then we had Miz open another present. He picks it up, and underneath the present was Dexter Lumis's head. And, of course, Miz puts the box back down and then starts swinging at it like he's playing whack-a-mole. But then, of course, Loomis was gone. He sneaked it from behind, and he put Miz in the sleeper. But then the Miz ends up trying to, fight out of it. I think this was botched. He tried to kick Maurice. He almost kicked Maurice fall to the birthday cake. But it's like Maurice, walked right back in so he could kick her again and go to the birthday cake. It was botched. And then the Miz even got up and ran off and left his wife with Dexter. Who, of course, stares down Maurice. She runs off, which, okay, why would a man let his wife, just feed his wife to a stalker or whatnot? Then Loomis pulls out a knife and pokes in the giant exercise balls, so he deflates Miz's balls. And the crowd was so silent until he stares down the cake. And then they start chanting, "Eat the cake! Eat the cake!" Which he does. But the crowd was just dead silent. And then we later have a segment where Miz runs into, I think, Road Dogg and Shawn Michaels backstage. And they set up a match for next week, Miz versus Dexter Lumis. If Miz wins, Dexter Lumis is gone. But if Lumis wins, then he gets a contract with WWE and for Monday Night Raw. But again, though, for the millionth gazillionth time, stuff like this is again why people soured on Dexter Lumis in NXT. Why, in the love of God, is Dexter Lumis stalking the Miz? What does he have that he wants? We're not getting anywhere further with this storyline. I'm sorry. It's like, yes, I like how they brought him back. They had him, through the crowd. They teased him, getting closer. But then once you start having him get his hands on the Miz, it's like, okay, we're rolling here. Every week is the same thing. His hands on the Miz. His hands on the Miz. His hands on the Miz. He gets his hands on the Miz. Okay, he got his hands on the Miz. But what does Miz have that he wants? His giant balls. No. Again, that's got to stop. This whole tiny ball stuff with the Miz has to stop. Okay? I don't like it. It's annoying. It's dumb as hell. And, I can't take it anymore. Oh, then, dear Lord. I'm sorry, we had one more thing. This is kind of like the shit part of the show. even though the show was still fantastic. Well, first we had DX. This is not bad. DX, we already talked about that. We have Omos, again, squash some dudes. I don't care. Alright, now we can get into some good stuff. Because first we rewatched Bray Wyatt's return from Extreme Rules. And then he did cut some, there was some little vignette later. And it was like a warp thing, kind of like how it was before he came out at Extreme Rules. And the message said, I used to think that the prison inside my head was the only place I could ever truly be free. Reveal in what you are. And he said it like 6 times. And then we're then being told that Bray Wyatt will be on SmackDown on Friday. So okay, we'll get to see him tomorrow. We have that, and then let me see here. Okay, so then we have this. Oh God, I did not. Now the results I expected, but what we've set up. Holy shit, did I not even think of this? Did I not see this coming? So Bobby Lashley comes out. He's getting ready for his United States Championship match against Seth Rollins. And he reminds us that he's a fighting champion for all of us. He starts to mention the names of people he has beaten. And he calls Seth to get out of here. To get out here. And not even, they didn't even give him a second to breathe. Not even a second for the suspense. And then instantly... Farm Boy Brock Lesnar's back. Oh, shit! So, when she then said that, well, we get the holy shits, and Brock goes, well, holy shit! And then he goes, good evening, Brooklyn. And he's all smiley like he has been, when he was, became, Farm Boy Brock Lesnar. Which is, of course, this is the first time we've seen him since the last man standing match at SummerSlam. But Farm Boy walks over to Bobby. I say Bobby, because that's how he says that, Bobby. And he goes, and good evening to you, Bobby Lashley. And as he's saying this, Lashley's holding up the belt. And Lashley had just said before Brock came out that how he had beaten Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, which, with help from Roman, that match was solid, but of course it did not. It was more meant for a storyline, furthering match for Roman and Brock. Even though I still thought it was dumb the way Roman did it, because then it was like, okay, if you wouldn't have done that, Brock may not have come after you, basically. Which I thought, again, was just dumb. But yeah, as soon as he goes, Bobby Lashley, he then picks up Bobby and hits an F5. And then he hit another F5. And then he started doing the suplexes. And then he put Lashley in the Kimura lock. So, I guess this is Lesnar going back to being a heel. Not sure. I'm gonna wait on it because I have that one. I have LA Knight. I know for sure the OC went face again. But I'm trying to see if LA Knight is going back to being a face, was going to be turning face, or if he's still going to be a heel. I don't know, or is this just a one-time thing for him, breaking off from Max, but possibly being a heel again. But, I have those pending turn alerts coming. And I know, yes, this is more of a JBL hat, but it's the closest thing I found to a Farm Boy hat for Brock. As he decimated Bobby Lashley. And of course, Lesnar's arm's all messed up. So, the Meg's trying to take him away, but then out came Seth Rollins, whose ribs are still taped up from the Fight Pit match, and then he demands Lashley get in the ring. But then he says, I thought you said you were a fighting champion. I thought you said you were a soldier. And he basically like dissed on I said how Army veterans take exception to that. And then he got under the skin of Lashley, and Lashley's like, forget, you're not going to judge like that. I'm going to get in there and fight. So off of, Seth Rollins, dissing on Lashley for being a soldier but backing down from a fight, he then heads back to the ring and wants to fight. Which was, maybe remember back in 2018 when Lashley first returned, how Sami Zayn dissed on him for, on him when he was in the military. But then he said something, and then Bobby didn't get upset, but he said something like, so stupid, and Bobby was like, oh my god, it's the end of the world. Like, very, very shitty booking for that feud. But that's how you get Lashley mad. And of course, though, the injuries worked in his favor. Well, did not work in his favor, though, because Seth Rollins did defeat Bobby Lashley, as I predicted, to become the new United States champion. So I thought, okay, they'll probably do a third match with, I'm thinking they're going to do a third match with Rollins and Riddle. Because Riddle did beat Rollins. Rollins is now U.S. champion. Who should get the first shot? The one who just recently beat Rollins. And, of course, we have Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley getting a match under Triple H's writing. Oh, my God, that's awesome. If that is at Crown Jewel, then I am sold on Crown Jewel. Or they could wait till Survivor Series for that match. We have War Games, but we still have, we still need a nice, blockbuster singles match. That could be it. Ooh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. That is going to be one hell of a Haas fight. And I'm going to love every second of it. But yes, we're going to get Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley coming very soon. For real. And not just as like a storytelling, stepping stone like Royal Rumble's match was. So we got that, with Seth Rollins becoming champion. Of course, Lashley's then being interviewed backstage, and then he says he's pissed off. He's not done with Seth Rollins, but first he's got to deal with Brock Lesnar. And he calls out Brock Lesnar next week. I tell you right now, I am setting my expectations for that kind of confrontation high. Do you know what I would love to see between Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley? Well, not a match. Well, another match, yes. Next week, I would like to see a brawl between those two that's similar to the brawl Brock Lesnar had with The Undertaker the night after Battleground 2015. When Taker returned and cost Lesnar his match against Rollins at Battleground, that he was clearly dominating him, clearly could have won if Taker did not appear. I want to see a brawl between those two at that caliber. I think they can do it. I really think they can do it if they really tried. Oh boy. But then we also have an appearance saying how Elias, I guess Ezekiel's done. Elias is coming back to Raw next week. That'll be interesting to see. Again, under Triple H's writing. Again, the thing to also intrigue about that again. Elias was a guy Triple H looked at and thought he was not meant for NXT. He was meant for the roster, for the main roster. So I'm very interested to see how he does under Triple H's writing. So that would be awesome to see him back. I guess again that's it for Ezekiel. The Usos came out with Sami Zayn for the main event. And then Matt Riddle and Sami Zayn had a good match. Brooklyn is still very hot though behind Sami Zayn. Didn't work out though for the Honorary Uso as Matt Riddle did beat Zayn with an RKO out of nowhere to get the victory. And then of course the Usos were very Jimmy of course was a little more sympathetic for Sammy. And of course, Jay, though, is not at all. And of course, Roman is not going to be mad. Then, of course, for the second show in a row, because Extreme Rules, Matt Riddle's celebration got cut off by the return of Bray Wyatt. Then he sometimes gets cut off by DX, which there was like 8 minutes left in the show. So I thought first they were going to do an overrun. But DX comes out, and first off, I gotta say, I just almost pissed myself whenever they're still playing their song, and then Road Dogg grabs the mic and just goes, Determination X, like a very like weak, high-pitched squeal of a voice, and it's like, and I just laughed myself so hard. I'm like, I didn't expect that, but it sounded so bad, but I just had to laugh about it. Of course, they all come in, they do their chops, some pyro, everybody's got a mic. X-Pac offers up a shout out to the secret ingredient of DX, China. Glad to see to honor her. Road Dogg does his deal with doing the introduction for the New Age Outlaws, but of course he doesn't say, he goes, the Road Dogg, Jesse James, and then of course he then like points the microphone to the crowd and lets them say the badass Billy Gunn. Of course, some people were worried that we get the "Oh scissor me daddy" chants, but it did not happen on the show. I'm surprised. Because he is, of course, daddy ass. And then, of course, we get that. And then, of course, Corey Graves says, that guy is selling office equipment now, he says about Billy Gunn. I guess because that is scissors, because referring to Scissor Me Daddy. Triple H and X-Pac joke about the arena smelling like weed after Road Dogg calls them Geriatric X. And he also thanks us for 25 years and tells us they love us. Then gets us ready to, and of course HBK goes last and asks us to promise that if they do this again in 25 years, they'll put them out of their misery. With that, they just have 2 words for us: suck it. And then they it was a very it was short. I mean, I felt bad because I wish they could have had a little bit more time to do their shtick. But again, like, I respect that that they brought back, you know, the part timers or the, you know, the legends from the past and whatnot. And yes, they've given them like something, but it's not like overpowering the whole show like it was before. I wish we could have got a little bit more from DX, but what it did was solid. I just was surprised also we didn't get a "Oh scissor me daddy" to honor chant to honor Billy Gunn, but you know. But that was Raw. Like I said, I think if it wasn't for those like middle like 3 things, like the booking of Damage Control's like meh on me. Omos, I don't care about. I'm sorry. And again, the worst, my least favorite part of the show was definitely that Miz's birthday celebration. Like, it just, I mean, the Dexter Lumis stuff, it is what it is. I wanted to get somewhere else, but again, like the tiny ball shit just has to stop. That's what I'm asking for, to stop that crap, because it's not funny anymore. But we checked your comments in the live chat. Then I go watch my Thursday night shows. You see here his typical stuff. Why is Brock back again for the 2000th time? This summer should be his last match. Hey, again, it's a non-title match. I'm not going to say no to a Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley match. So I'm cool with that. Like, you can do him and Lashley. You can do him and Kevin Owens. You can do him and Riddle. There's still some Brock Lesnar matches I want to see. As long as it's not Brock and Roman for the 1,000,000th time, or Brock having the championship for the 1,000,000th time again, I'm cool with Brock being here. AJ, Bray, Big Boy Braun, Seth should take the title from Roman. Not bad, good picks. And split MVP from Omos. Just get rid of Omos in general. He sucks. But that's going to do it. Again, I will try after I watch my Thursday night shows, depending on how I'm feeling. Maybe if I'm too tired, I won't do it. But I'm going to try to go live and do my Dynamite review and talk about that show really quick. Probably some point on Saturday, I'll do my SmackDown review. I'm probably not going to be able to do it tomorrow night. And then, yeah, just more stuff to come with video games and everything else. But and a couple pending Turner videos. I have a lot of baseball topic videos I gotta catch up on. I just realized that the other day, so I have a list of them. I am, of course, going to try to do those whenever I can. Just get some baseball news booming on the channel again. Even though some of them is past stuff, but just some stuff is still, talkable points for sure. But yeah. So, I'm going to check out here, guys. I'm going to watch my Thursday night shows. Maybe be back up here later on tonight. We'll see. But until then, guys, yep. As always, guys, I gave Raw an A-. It wasn't for, the three middle things, like Damage Control's booking, Miz's awful birthday thing, and, of course, the Omos. I would have given this show an A, but because of that, I still gave it an A-, because it was still an awesome show. OC's back. Brock Lesnar's back to fight Bobby Lashley. And Seth Rollins is your new United States champion. I can't complain. There was a lot of great stuff happening on the show. But guys, once again, be sure to always slap a like on the video. Subscribe more to my channel. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. Again, I may be back up here later on tonight to review Dynamite. If not, I'll review when I get the chance. So until then, guys, I'll check it out. I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night. Come for your farm boy, Demand. Peace out, everybody.